Hey, good morning, guys. It's December right now. It's in the morning. Today is pretty sunny. Yesterday was pretty sunny too, and it's been a nice contrast from a lot of the gray, foggy mornings that we've been getting for the last several weeks. We've been getting lots of dew. You can see some of the dew right here on this, but at least it's drying out a lot more quicker now. So right now it's an update on my 2023 Laverne Manila rootstocks, and these rootstocks you can find them at Home Depot, at Lowe's, usually tagged as just like Manilas. They used to come from Laverne, but I think it's called Verne now, the nursery. So I'm gonna just give you guys an update on this. This is a good one to check out. Check out the playlist if you guys are kind of barely starting out your own project, and you can kind of see how I began with the trees that I got from the nurseries, from like Home Depot and so forth in 2023, and how I progressed with it. So I got it back then, and then some of them I put in pots, some of them put it directly in the ground. And what I do is I am not concerned about shaping the tree, pruning the tree, or anything like that. I am just, mostly for that first year, I am just letting it grow without any pruning. That's it, so I could thicken the trunk, getting in the tree as tall as I could, getting the trunk to thicken as quickly as it could. So that was the first year, and then now this year, and this second year, 2024, we're about to finish off the second year, so it's a good update to see how everything has looked. Definitely the rootstock has slowed down in terms of how fast the trunk has thickened up, and that's mostly due to two things. I was getting a little bit better growth in the pots versus in ground, but I still got some pretty good growth on most of my in-ground trees. At the same time, I began pruning and cutting back to prepare for grafting, which I did a few this year, but I'll probably be doing a lot more next year. So again, this is a good playlist to kind of check out. You can kind of see what I do from beginning, and then this is going to be a few more years of project until I kind of finish grafting everything up. So let's take a look at this. Here is the trunk, right? Again, I mentioned it has not grown as fast as the first year I had it, and in my opinion, due to those two reasons, which is the pruning I did this year, in addition to like some of them has, some of my potted ones has gone in ground. Okay, but here's the size of the rootstock compared to a Sharpie. So overall, still very great growth in 2 years time, right? I got this in 2023. It's getting to end of 2024 right now, so pretty good size growth in 2 years time. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. So this one I was able to let's see, I did chop it back down to around right here to let it start branching. That's some branching going on, like 4 or 5 major limbs. I did not want to try to graft everything this year, but I had some extra scion, so I did graft what you see here, right here, the smaller ones. This is a M4 seedling. M4 seedling that has been identified as the clone, so this should, in theory, produce identical fruits to M4. These other larger, taller limbs right here has not been grafted as part of the rootstock, which I will be removing comes, kind of mid-spring or late spring of next year. Well, I'll probably graft a few other seedlings onto, mostly probably maybe seedlings of M4, and probably one that's definitely like the fertilized seedling, so that's what's going to happen next year. I'm going to kind of either start grafting, removing them, and letting this M4 seedling scion kind of just take over. Okay, so that's the first tree. Let's keep on going. Here's the second tree. This second tree struggled a little bit early in this year because it kind of got attacked by fungal that was slowly kind of killing it, and like it was in the early spring, kind of end of winter. So I had used a lot of fungicide, some of the strong fungicide stuff, to kind of slow it down. It did help. I was surprised. I thought I was going to lose this tree. I didn't think I was going to make it, just because from my experience in the past. It doesn't happen too often with the Laverne Manillas I work with, but I see it often with like the grafted Florida trees and stuff, where they just suddenly just die back. And here's what you could see right here. So use fungicide. I kind of covered with bark wound sealer, and it did heal up. But that bark that was infested or like had the fungal issue on it, they all began to flake off. Kind of break off, but everything else around it is healing well. But I did put some more tree wound sealer, so you can actually see this is the inner core of the trunk right here. So it lost all this section right here, but everything else seems to be healing fine. But I did put some more bark wound sealer just to be safe, to help it heal. At least in my experience, I've had mango trees that was wounded, and where you can kind of see the inner kind of core of the stems or the trunks or major branches, and they didn't want to really heal that quickly. It took a long time to heal. Eventually I had to use like tree wound kind of sealer, and that kind of helped it heal. And like by now, most of it, I expected maybe another year or so, that this whole kind of cambium kind of outside will kind of grow into it and cover this exposed inner core. Okay, so that's it. So I didn't do much grafting on this, just because I wasn't sure if this tree was going to make it. Now we got another winter coming up, and hopefully it does fine. I think after surviving that first winter, this one should be fine. And like, it's been growing really well, some nice branching on it. I did put like a small little graft as an experiment, but most of my grafting will take place next year on this. As long as it makes it through winter nice and healthy, it's going to get grafted next year. And here's the next tree. Okay, so this tree is has a couple things going on with it. Looking nice sized trunk right here. I don't know why I still have this on here. I should remove this. But I did plant this out, and then I put this in the ground. This one was one that was originally in the ground. And then I also do, this looks like suckers, but they are not suckers. I actually just do an autoflow ceiling to the side of it. Just an experiment. I could always end up using this to graft like a double trunk or something onto this rootstock. It was just in case like I had run into any issues, but I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. But I'm gonna just let them grow. This is two autoflow next to a Laverne. There's hey there, buddy. So let's keep on going. So this has several seedling scion grafts of lemon zest. We'll see how it goes. This one was the last one to get grafted, and this was definitely a lemon zest clone. The others are the fertilized seedlings. So here's one lemon zest. This one has Indian spice to it, and Indian spice to this one. This one has a classic kind of Florida smell to it. Unfortunately, I'm seeing signs of powdery mildew on this already, so that's not a good sign. I mean, maybe it's just the timing of the leaves, but just kind of possibly is one seedling that's just a bit more prone to powdery mildew. So, or it could just be unlucky from the timing of when the new fresh growth came out, but this one has a classic smell. Probably end up producing something more of a classic like fruit, but this powdery mildew part is kind of worrying me a bit. It looks pretty bad for something this time of the year, you know, so let's see. Might not make this trial of seedlings I got going. So here's the other one. This one's the most vigorous of them. They were grafted pretty much all at the same time, but I like the growth on this one. I've liked the intense, strong Alfonso kind of spice to this one. So we'll see what happens. So this is this one is definitely one of my favorite of the rootstocks I have grafted, because I felt like the project is going pretty well with it. And we'll see what happens. See if these end up blooming earlier, or if they're going to give me several years of good vegetative growth before blooming. Yeah, so let's keep on going. Okay, here's the other one. Here's one where I made some grafts or seedlings, but none of them really took or thrived. So here's the rootstocks. It's like this cracking that happens often, this marking that you see. It's always like the side that is exposed to the most sun kind of gets it. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll probably put some kind of tree wound sealer on here just to make sure no fungal issues get into it. But it happens often with the mangoes. The bark that's exposed to the sun gets more of this rough texture to it. Now, and I was expect so the sun is rising right here to my left right here, you see, and it's the morning sun all the way to like the afternoon. And I was experimenting. This is facing it, but maybe next time with some of my ceilings, I might have this side, right? This side that kind of like almost like a dog leg. This kind of dog leg shape. Maybe this side would be exposed to the morning sun. Maybe that might be better. I'm not really too sure. The reason why I kind of had this way, because I was thinking the morning sun would be less intense, so I might get less damage to the trunk versus like the afternoon sun, which would be on this side. So, but I'm still seeing it, you know. So, okay. So this is here's a few grafts I made of seedlings, and they just been like this all year long. But so we'll see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen next year. But but after kind of chopping it down, I did get like 3 nice kind of limbs growing out, and these 3 limbs are gonna be grafted over next year. You know. So that's how I get that's how I start off with my multi-grafted varieties. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, here's one more. So this one has coconut cream right here in the front. I'm getting so far getting some pretty nice vertical growth on this coconut cream versus kind of leggy growth I get on them on like a turpentine tree, a Florida tree. Back here is sugarloaf. That's sugarloaf. And it looks like it's about to push. I don't know if this is going to be blooms or if it's going to be vegetation. I'm hoping it'll be vegetation, but this time of the year it's most likely either blooms or like mixed blooms. But it looks pretty pointy so far. So we'll see. Okay, let's keep on going. Here's another one, and this one I tried a few grafts that they didn't make, but like this one I'm gonna be really just top rooting it next year. It's growing up nicely. Let's see the trunk thickness on this. I mean, most of it right now, the trunk thickness is all about the same. Some of it's a little bit smaller and some of it's a little bit bigger. And this this one might be more on the bigger side than the other ones, and that's probably because it had a lot of just flushes where I didn't prune anything. Just kind of let it all grow. So it's getting pretty tall too. So definitely gonna get top row and multi-grafted next year. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay. Right here is my next one. Trunk on there. Pretty decent trunk size. And this one has been grafted with sweetheart seedling clones. So I mean, from the way I identified them, I am pretty sure, like 99% sure, that these are the clones. And there was 4 grafts on them. They all came from different seedlings identified as the clones. So I initially made 4 grafts. So right here you can see one in the back here, one right here, and they were seedling scions, but definitely came from different seedlings. And when I started with them, they were like, toothpick size scions. So here's the other 2 right here. Same thing, 2 kind of toothpick size scions that came from 2 different seedlings. One of it's definitely kind of been growing a lot more thicker than the other one, but pretty much overall they should be the clones. There might be maybe some genetic drift or something, variations on the clones. If that doesn't happen, I don't really know, but for the most part this should produce identical sweetheart fruits. And I'm very curious to see what's going to happen this year, if it's going to give me more vegetative growth. So that's what I'm hoping for, because if it does, like all these budding, like you could see it, like there's so much bud swell right here. And if it goes through another vegetative phase, I think by next spring it's probably gonna be a nice, like really large size tree, So let me see. It's a pretty fun experiment so far with grafting these seedling scions. The most difficult part of it is just identifying the clone seedlings versus the fertilized seedlings, but it's been a fun project. Okay. All right, here is the next one, and this one was one. Well, I did a bunch of several kind of interesting experiments this year. This is thyme right here that's going up to. It's in the pot right here. And what I was doing with that was I was trying to prevent a lot of aphids and ants from kind of, from the ants harvesting like the aphids and stuff like that, and farming for aphids. And I had read that thyme does a good job keeping ants away and so forth. Well, with my experience and lots of the ones I've tried, where it's supposed to deter this pest or deter that pest, doesn't really work. The ants are still coming. They're still farming. Aphids, I have to spray for it, especially in early spring and so forth, to kind of keep them away. But this was one of the ones where I just planted the tree directly into the ground itself in the first year, in 2023. And versus the ones I had in the pots, which I ended up planting in 2024, it has not been as kind of large and as vigorous. So as it try to put like a marker right there, a Sharpie, but it's still pretty good size, trunk. And I did a trunk chop on this, kind of right about here, about knee high for me and so forth. But as long as you have it, my recommendation is to kind of trunk chop it as low as you can where you want the branching. But sometimes that's kind of hard to do. Like you always worry about being too low you might kill the tree or something like that. But if you have the willpower to do it, it's better to kind of go as low as you can. So, you know, like I mentioned, I let my trees go out pretty long, pretty tall to help thicken the trunk. And then after the first year, I do a trunk chop right here to get it to branch. And then this is year 2, where it's branching right now. And then year 3, which will be next year, is when I'm going to be grafting, you know, different varieties onto it. That's what I do for a multi-grafted tree. So I got 3 good kind of branching here, and it's going to be three probably solid varieties. I already know that I will want to get a fruit punch on here, a sea crest on here, and probably the other one will be some kind of silver variety also. Yeah, so that's the plan, and I like how this one is shaping out really well. And I just gotta wait till next year to do the grafting, the multi-grafting on it. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this one's a bit of an unusual one because it has a lot of things going on. So initially I had, let me try to pull some of the weeds out here so you can see the trunk. Initially I had this one in the ground first, and I put this in the ground in 2023, but it's struggled a little bit. It's definitely on the slower side, and it has been the slowest of all my rootstocks I have. And right now I think I have this 2023 rootstocks. I think there's about 8 of them. There should be about 8 of them. But you can see the trunk on here is definitely on the smaller side. And then this one right here, I put it in 2024, and look at the difference. It's huge. This one had grown really well in a pot. This one has not grown that well in the ground. The slowest of the one in the ground, but most of the ones I had in the ground were just slightly slower than the ones in the pot. But this one was drastically slower. So initially, I was thinking of just digging this up because it was just not doing that well. You know, it's not doing that well. It wasn't giving me the growth that I wanted. But then I didn't want to do that. I was like, I don't have time to try to pamper it in a pot. So I was like, let me just go ahead and plant another one right next to it. And if this one doesn't do too well, I could just end up just, you know, cutting off, letting it die off or something like that. But actually this year ended up recovering quite a bit. The growth was a lot better. From here to here. I still don't really like the strength of the trunk so far. It's still a bit like I would say it's kind of weepy and like not really quite able to hold itself up on the weight as much. Hold itself up due to the weight. So we'll see. I'm definitely gonna probably maybe cut some more branches off of it. But this one has done really well. You know, it's a huge trunk. I grafted a Bennett Alfonso here, and I have some Alfonso here, regular Alfonso, and I initially plan to add a white Alfonso here, and let's see, I think I have a yep, so Alfonso right here that's pushing, kind of see it. It's 2 grafts of a regular Alfonso. This is a graft of Bennett Alfonso right here, and let me take that back. I might have got some of mine mixed up between the Bennett Alfonso and the regular Alfonso. So no, I am right. So Bennett Alfonso right here. These 2 right here with the leaves you see is Bennett Alfonso. It's flushing really well. And then this one is a San Paris. The graft has not died, but it has not done anything. It did try to push and then died back. So San Paris is a hybrid from India's breeding program that is a hybrid of Alfonso, and I don't remember the other variety, but you know, this tree I kind of want it to be a bunch of different Alfonso or Alfonso-like flavor group in it. So let's see how it goes. It's going pretty well so far. Some of it I think I grafted way too high, but it's just a weird experiment. So, well, that's it. That's my updates on these 2023 Laverne Manila rootstocks. And again, if you guys are barely starting off, I recommend you guys kind of check out the playlist on this to see how it began, what direction I'm going with the plants, and kind of see my steps on what I do in terms of starting out new rootstocks for like multi-grafting. Alright guys, thanks again. Till next time.